Something exciting just arrived in the mail. It's the ALT, a soundscape synthesizer by the French company Cyma Forma. I don't know much about this instrument, but I'm very eager to check it out. It was a big hit on Kickstarter, and it's now available to the general public. Okay, let's dig in. The first thing I'm noticing about this instrument is the design is just really, really beautiful. Everything's proportioned really well, the colors are nice, and the whole thing just feels extremely well built. You can't see it in the top-down view, but it's constructed in several layers, the topmost of which is transparent plexiglass. I've never seen an instrument that's put together like this before. It does mean that it's a little bit hard for me to film it from above. For example, you may notice this white line across the middle of the image. That's not part of the instrument. That's actually just a reflection of the stand that I use for filming. We'll just have to pretend it's not there. Okay, I've read the manual. I know what this thing is supposed to do. Let's try to make some noise. As you can see, the controls are split neatly into 3 groups: voices, alter, and movement. We're going to start with the voices. Each of these columns represents an oscillator. This is where the sound's actually coming from. Here, I'm going to turn up one of them. Now that I've got a sound, I can change its frequency by using the slider up here. Okay, let's add another one in, and we'll choose a note for that. Right now we have this in chromatic scale mode, which means it will let us pick any note from the 12-tone scale. Let's try to dial in a nice chord. Oscillators 2 through 5 are digitally controlled. Right now they're in triangle wave mode, but we can switch them to sawtooth as well. And over here I've got these filters. This is a low-pass filter, and this is a high-pass filter. You can actually use these knobs up here to change what these filters do. The final element of the alter section is the delay. The crunchy, lo-fi quality of this delay is a huge part of the sound of the instrument. So far, we've used these amplitude faders to get sound out of this instrument, but if you turn them down, you can use these buttons to trigger the oscillators. You can really hear the crunchy delay now. So, as I mentioned before, right now we are in chromatic mode. It basically means that when I press one of these buttons and move the fader, it gives me access to all of the notes of the 12-tone scale. But if I wanted to, I can change this. Like, for example, this mode limits it to these 4 notes. There are a bunch of different scales to choose from, and according to the manual, there's even the possibility of doing some microtonal retuning, which is pretty cool. For right now, I'm just going to stick with these notes. So far we've only messed with these oscillators, but there's actually oscillator 1, which is completely different. It's not digitally controlled at all. It has only one waveform, a sine wave, and it's not part of this scale mechanism at all. As you can hear, it's completely continuous. It's not snapping to specific notes at all. Let's try to combine all 5 oscillators. Once we've got a sound we like, we can actually change the key that the top 4 oscillators are tuned to. Note how the sine wave isn't changing pitch when I do that. By the way, if we don't want the digital oscillators to adhere to the scale, we can actually turn that off as well. There are 4 independent switches at the top, and once I flick those, I'm free to detune each oscillator to my heart's content. Okay, so we talked about the voices section, we've talked about the alter section. Let's move on to the movement section, which allows us to change or modulate everything else. The modulation system uses these shiny pins. If you want something to control something else, you just push a pin into this matrix. Right now, I'm using one of the LFOs to turn oscillator 3 on and off. Let's add another one. If you want, you can even do fun stuff like having one modulator modify another. Let's change the pitch of one of the notes. Maybe let's switch to triangle waves. Let's add another note into the mix. Maybe some delay. So far we've only been using the LFO to turn notes on and off, but we can also use it to change the pitch of the notes. Check it out. So right now, the semi-random fluctuations of those modulators are resulting in pitch changes, but the pitch is still constrained by the scale chosen here. In fact, if I bring in oscillator 2, I can sort of play it just by moving the frequency slider. Once you've got a pattern going, it can be fun to switch out the scales. There's also an interesting mode called Leon. The Leon in question is Leon Theremin. Basically what it does is it turns on these two light sensors. This one controls the pitch, and this one controls the volume. I have to confess, I haven't really learned how to play this very well, but it is cool to be able to play something that's a bit like a theremin, but with a quantized pitch. By the way, this thing has full CV and MIDI inputs. In fact, let's give those a shot. I'm going to plug in my Arturia keystep as a MIDI controller. And now when I play a note, it triggers all 4 of these oscillators. And the pitch of all 4 oscillators is going to follow whatever I play on the piano keyboard. Now, according to the manual, if I switch to MIDI channel 1, it's going to switch modes, and it's going to behave a little bit differently. Each time I press a key, it's going to trigger a different oscillator. Let's try playing some notes into the key step sequencer, just to see what happens. Let's add some delay. I'm going to try to bring the sine wave in. I'm going to try recording a different sequence on the key step. Oh, I really like that. That's the funny thing about this synth. You can make a little change and then suddenly you're in a completely different universe. Should we try it out with some external effects? Oh, that's nice. As often happens with these kinds of sessions, I get swept away and forget that I'm even making a video. All in all, I think this is a beautiful instrument. I love that it's a self-contained ecosystem, sort of toolkit for exploration. You go in without any preconceived notions about what you're hoping to make, and then have your eyes opened slowly over the course of 20 minutes. At the same time, I think it really thrives as part of a larger setup. I really love that it has both MIDI and CV inputs so that I can hook it up to sequencers and MIDI keyboards and, well, anything else in my studio. I've taken some of my favorite sounds from this video and turned them into a decent sampler library. The instrument I've created is called Alt Vault, and it's now available to patrons. Speaking of which, the Patreon is just $5 a month, and every month there's another exclusive sample library just for patrons. So if you're a producer or a composer, definitely check that out. Okay, I think that's it. See you soon.